Brave. Last time Pixar came to the big screen, they released Cars 2, which was unfortunately their first critical failure. But to be fair, a lot of people expected it to be with its reused spy story and a cast of one-dimensional characters. But now that Pixar brings us something original instead of a sequel, will they go back to their legendary ways, or did Cars 2 really took a toll on them? Let's find out! And don't worry people, I'm not gonna do that Scottish accent during the entire review. The story. Unfortunately, Pixar's reputation of making original and engaging stories isn't really in this one. Throughout the movie, there are many different elements from past Disney films that would constantly appear in this. And I don't mean like the fairy tale cliches like giving spells a time limit. In fact, I find it a nice touch that they gave the movie a fairy tale feeling. But I mean elements that they've already been used in other animated Disney films. There is one, however, that instead of copying some of its elements, they decided to copy its entire story. And that's Brother Bear. I mean, the majority of the movie is literally about Merida's mom has been turned into a bear, and now they have to find a way to change back to her normal self, and learning a lesson at the same time, while her dad and the other lords are going out hunting for the mom bear. All we need is just 2 comedic moves and we could consider it a remake. Oh, and replace the dad with Kenai too. But is it distracting enough to keep my attention away from the film? Not really. If there is one thing that Pixar did really well, is introduce us to the world of Brave. The environment, the characters, the tales and legends that they tell us, the places, the magic, all of which is what keeps our interest to know more about that more than the actual story itself. It's a lot like Avatar. You don't care about the story because you already have heard of it before, but it's the world they live in that you'll remember the most. The animation. Now I know what you guys are thinking. AniMat's is going to say that Pixar's animation is great, nothing special. Well, yeah, you got a point, but at least let me explain it. For a film that keeps our interest more in the world they live in than what the characters have to go through, Pixar can make that world so amazing to watch. The background animation looks almost photorealistic, and the movie would give us such amazing views on the different parts of the forest that surrounds our characters. The last film that would give us such realistically great views like that was The Legend of the Guardians. The character design seems a little cartoony and some look more over the top than others, but I find that it works since this is a fairy tale style animated film and it gives it a tangled feeling when watching them. As for the character animation, Pixar is going a little more cartoony on that too. But not too cartoony like Madagascar, I mean just a tiny good amount, like, again, Tangled. Also, I can see why people are giving so much praise to the hair, since it is one of the hardest things to make it look real in a computer animated film, and it looks like Pixar perfected it with Merida's messy red hair. However, I'm not freaking out as much as others since it is just hair. It's not like the most memorable moment in the movie will make you go, "Oh my god, that hair looks real!" Sure, we're not surprised that Pixar did a fantastic job on the animation, but isn't that one of the things that we love about them? The characters. How Pixar handled their characters here isn't as strong as the previous ones. First, there's Merida, who is the independent princess who, despite her royal duties, wants to do what she wants, like archery, rock climbing, and horseback riding. What sets her apart from other independent princesses is that she doesn't really blame herself when it's plain obvious that she screwed up something. It always has to be someone else's fault when it comes to her. There's Eleanor, the queen, or Merida's mom, who acts like King Triton from The Little Mermaid in the first act, where she loves her daughter, but she wants her to act like a princess. But when she turns into a bear, she would still have her queen-like mannerisms, which would result in some pretty funny scenes. There are Merida's triplet brothers who don't have much screen time, but are like the mischievous Huey, Dewey, and Louie of the movie. Then there's King Fergus, who is more the comic relief as a fun-loving king and is the most likable character in the movie. Not to mention that there's a lot of character development with this guy, probably even more than Merida. There are also the three lords, Dingwall, MacGuffin, and Macintosh, who help Fergus to add in more comedy. By the way, Lord Macintosh is voiced by Craig Ferguson, and I'm not sure, but it looks like he wants to do a voice in an animated film made by a different animation studio every year. I wonder what is he gonna do with Blue Sky next year. Anyways, there is also a witch who gives Merida the spell to turn her mom into a bear. She's a pretty interesting character, heck, she even has a talking crow, and you'd think that she would be the villain of the movie, but she literally appears in just one scene, and that's it. She could have been a good character and made the story more interesting if she had more screen time, but now she's just lost potential. There are some characters that could have been better, but there are still others that are enjoyable to watch. This may not be Pixar's finest work, but Brave is still an enjoyable fairy tale style film with a more recycled story, likable characters, and beautiful animation from the best in the industry. Now, before the movie would start, they would play an animated short called La Luna, which is pretty cute and enjoyable thanks to the animation style and the storytelling resembling a lot like a children's book. If you guys want to go see it, go right ahead, you'll have a good time watching it. The only recommendation I give you guys is that because this is a Pixar film, lower your expectations a bit.